So, ladies and gentlemen, we are deflated as all hell at the moment. We don't really want to be doing this one, but welcome back. You've got me, you've got Ant. We've just lost to Liverpool 3-0. Ant, what are your initial impressions about that for you?
Liverpool were just a better team. It's one of those, like, we didn't show what we was about at all. Liverpool controlled the game from first minute to the last minute, and they didn't really have to come out of first gear, which was disappointing, particularly with sort of the injuries they had. I know we had injuries as well to crucial members of our first team, but I don't want to use that as an excuse. The way that we performed tonight, it was poor, but it's one of those that, like, not many teams go to Anfield and get anything. And, like, as disappointing as it is, you want to keep it in perspective of the fact of how well we started this season.
We did. And I think that's a really good point to build up on, because the fact is, if you it's easy to look at this performance and pick holes in it and pick players apart. And as you were saying, as Doug and Dewan were saying on our show, Liverpool haven't lost there in 63 games. You know, that's a massive achievement. And they've turned that place, even under Corona, into a fortress. So this has to be in perspective. And the perspective, if you look at it, is that we're still sitting in fourth place. I know that Southampton have to play, but the fact is we're doing super well. We have to take all the results into consideration. We put 4 past a Leeds team in a 4-1. That was an unbelievable performance. The 4-0 against Braga at home, I think, was another. It wasn't an amazing performance, but it was still a really good performance to see. So I think the best thing to do is to talk about the whole situation around the club rather than just to talk about the performance today, because even though it was not a good performance, it was just all over the place at times, and this team just looked completely different.
Yeah, and I think part of that, like, we weren't ourselves at all tonight. Johnny Evans with such an uncharacteristic mistake. You've got to give credit to Liverpool. I think the way that they pressed us and stuff, it didn't allow us to play sort of the game that we did. But at the same time, even with the amount of pressing Liverpool were doing, you would hope that we would have shown a bit more. Particularly, Milner had a brilliant game at right back, but you would have hoped that we would have been able to test him there, sort of not his usual position. I know he's basically played everywhere but in goal. But even with Fabinho, who's normally a defensive midfielder at centre-back, untested, Matip, probably it may well have been a penalty, but it doesn't really matter. I don't think that would have changed the outcome of the game anyway, to be honest. So it's just one of those. You're disappointed that we didn't test them and show them more of what we're about. But we move on now to Braga in the Europa League, I think.
Yeah, and we just got to take this confidence and potentially switch up the team a little bit, because James Justin you got to remember that some of these players are tired, and Braga is a great example to start introducing people like Timothy Castagna back into the team if he's fit. Luke Thomas is another good example. Get them in and get them started to play, because Christian Fuchs had 2 weeks off, Maddison's had 2 weeks off, Barnes had 2 weeks off, same with Vardy and Mendy. So I thought the players would be up for it, but even players like Justin, who's been away with the under-21s, Tillemans and Pratt have been away with Belgium international as well, which they work you hard. So these players that have gone on international duty, I think because of the schedule we've got lined up for us, the best thing to do is just to rest them, pretend like this match didn't happen, and go and hit Braga hard. It's away from home in Portugal. It'll be a good game. We've beat them 4-0 already, and we've shown that we can throw in the towel. So the only way to turn around from a 3-0 performance is to go and smash Braga. Even if we get 2 goals, the fact that we're going in the right direction, I think, will mean a lot. And the fact that they don't have that much pace at the back, I'd even consider playing Wes Morgan.
Potentially, yeah. And I think something that's important is we saw last year after the Norwich game, sort of we had one bad result against Norwich, then another one against Man City, and then Liverpool on Boxing Day. The thing for us now is not to let our heads drop from this. It's about the response and showing that sort of resilience to bounce back and really not let this derail our season.
Yeah, because there's still a big season ahead of us, and also maybe this is where Europa League plays into our hands. There's not many advantages of having a small squad and being in Europa, but the fact that the squad can go there, you play the people like Nacho, you play the second team, and you go and get a win, take that performance into the next game, I think, which is against Fulham on Monday. So it's going to be a good performance, in my opinion, and it's going to lead to us kind of pushing on from this and actually getting the best out of the team. Because, again, I don't think there's any point in dwelling too much. This team is amazing, and my God, did they not shut up about it. But anyway, they didn't. The commentators did not stop talking about it. However, they deserve to win. Credit to Liverpool. It's just, what do we do from here? And what do we do from here is quite simple, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, we just need to sort of bounce back, as you say, not pretend this result didn't happen, because there's stuff that we can learn from this game, but not let it affect us and not let it derail our season.
I think so. And we're still going to have a decent run. The fact is, we were both talking at the beginning of the season about you. I think you said you finished 12th. I said we finished 10th. We both said we were going to kind of struggle this season. The fact that we haven't is kind of a miracle within itself. We've bought players through like Wesley Fofana, which we didn't even think was going to get done at the beginning of the season. Luke Thomas has come out and looked brilliant. You look at a player like, who else was that? Christian Fuchs. Again, today he did have problems. However, he had that header off the line. He's still dependable at the back. And it shows us that we can play three at the back, and he is one of the people that is available. So in Europa League now, we have to go and smash this team, because it is important for us to move on from this, because it's not the result we wanted, but there's definitely stuff that we could improve on. I think players like Pratt, I think one thing that I've got at the beginning, we needed that running in the team, and the fact that he didn't play, I think the fact that he was out of the team, we actually missed a lot.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And I think as well, something that I noticed, which I thought was quite strange, Perez wasn't even on the bench, which I thought it would have been interesting to have him on the bench, at least as an option. I know I'm in a minority being a fan of Ayoze Perez within the Leicester fans, but he would have been at least a good option to have off the bench. But it's one of those, we move, as I keep saying, we move on. I don't want to dwell on it. It's like we said on the when we were talking to Doug, but it feels so strange, because normally there's so much to talk about in a game, but for us, there's next to nothing today.
Yeah, it wasn't really that much. I'm just going to have a look at the sub bench now. I'm pretty sure that Morgan was on the subs bench. I can't even, I'm trying to find the lineup now. But there was a few players that I thought were, again, Liverpool were amazing. Oh my God, they just can't stop talking about them. Subs bench today: Morgan, Ward, Iheanacho, Under, Chowdhury, Pratt, and Thomas. So when it comes to Europa League, maybe that's where you'll see Perez thrive more. That's what, because looking at that, Iheanacho's on the bench, Under's on the bench, Chowdhury, Pratt, Castagna didn't even make the bench. Now that might be because he's unfit, but we've seen before with Brendan Rodgers, if a player is kind of ready to go, he'll throw them straight back in. So he obviously didn't trust that he was ready to go. And so we've got people for different positions. I think it would have been good to see some of these players off the bench actually play some football against Braga, and that should be one to look forward to. But overall, I think we just got to take our losses. And again, Liverpool, it's no shame really to lose at Liverpool, because I mean, they've, apart from the Aston Villa freak result, which will probably go down as one of the best results, probably the best result this season, or the most. So apart from that, everything else has looked not great from a Leicester perspective. But I think it's just onwards and upwards, and there isn't really much we can do. We've got a thick schedule coming from now until December, haven't we, though?
And as you say, there's no shame in losing to Liverpool. My only sort of slight thing that I'm annoyed about today is how we lost, because typically you see us have a real go at teams and stuff, and like if we lose, we go down fighting and stuff. Today that just wasn't the case. But as you say, we move on now. We've got a busy schedule up till even January, because December's going to be hectic as well. So just get on to the next game, like put this behind us.
And that's the hope for us. I think there is nothing really else much to say. So have you got any more thoughts, Ant, on that?
No, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I think, the best thing to do is do what we're doing at the moment, Leicester fans. Don't dwell on it. Don't worry too much about it. Keep your head up. We'll be okay. We're having a great season. We're still in fourth. And On that note, make sure to subscribe, like. We've got loads of matches coming. We've got loads of post-match and previews and stuff with some special guests that we're really looking forward to sharing with you. Apart from that, thank you so much, and we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.